Greetings everyone, welcome to Nerd Scrolls. Today we're going to be creating character in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Now for some of my subscribers this might seem a bit strange, the fact that you guys probably know how to make characters, but this is mainly for my new subscribers and some of my older subscribers who maybe are new to the genre of tabletop and just want to know where to get started on some character sheets, as I know some people can get a bit confused or seem a bit daunted by the fact that the sheet looks completely insane if you're new to tabletop. Now I know I was switching from the 1st edition of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay to D&D as I looked at the sheet and thought, well, I don't know what the hell any of this means, Lord Jesus help me. But after a bit of watching some videos, I actually watched Dawnforge class video and it helped me out completely. I looked up on some other videos, I basically read the book top to bottom, but you don't need to do all that just to kind of create one character. As soon as you create one character you should be able to get into it, but after that you could probably create it off the top of my head. Me personally, I could probably nearly create a whole character without having to refer to the book if I'm using a class I know, but I'm not bragging, I'm just saying that once you create a few characters you'll be able to do that. It's quite an easy task to do. So I've got my player's handbook next to me, and I rolled to see what class and race I'll be playing. I will be playing a human monk, and so I'll be making the character alongside. A few jump cuts when I'm trying to get for a bit of reading, when I pause to breathe since I have a problem of talking too fast. But this is going to be a longer video. I'm going to go into detail, I'm going to do my step-by-step sections of how to create different stuff, and post your questions in the comments below if I go over detail you weren't sure about, if I don't explain something properly. Just feel free to ask. Of course, I'm not going to shout it if you ask a question. I like comments. It's nice. So, also, a new string of videos will come out when I give you tutorials on creating homebrew classes. Now, in the description, there are going to be 2 links. One of them is to the folder on Wizards of the Coast website, and it will basically give you the whole folder of all of the sheets you'll need for Dungeons & Dragons, from the detail sheets, the spellcasting sheets, the players sheets. It's got the different variations as well, so have fun mucking about with those. I'm actually using the alternative character sheet, as I kind of prefer this one, just the fact that, as you can see around here, it actually has every single skill next to its ability, whereas the other ones are a bit muddled up and some people might get a bit confused, but I found it a bit easier with my players, as I'll just say, okay, you need to do a stealth check, and they'll be like, stealth's in my dexterity, look there, instead of having to kind of like look down the sheet. But some people find it vice versa, but personally I prefer the alternative sheet. But feel free to grab your character sheet or grab your PDF file and fill it in alongside me. This will be quite a fun video if it goes smoothly. And the second link is actually to a straw poll. I've got a list of 5 homebrew classes, and you pick which one I'll be covering in the next one. I've got them got different ones, from Demon Hunter to a Naruto Ninja style class. I think I've got an Elemental Wizard, I think that's in there. I've also got an Iron Fist, which looks quite exciting. That's basically someone who just channels raw power into their fists. I think that's also got a bit of crossovers from Skyrim as well. I think they've like level 18, they've got some dragon shells you learn, so that looks interesting. But just go in there, leave your vote, and I'll check it next week, or I'll check it a few days from now. Let's see, I'm filming this and it's going to be uploaded today, hopefully, so today's Monday. I'll check by Friday, and then I'll make the video on Saturday. Now, I can't guarantee that, but that's basically what's probably going to happen. That's the basic structure. So without further ado, let's get into the sheet. So first off, what we need to do is we need to create a character name. So I was actually going to create one randomly on my fantasy, well, not on my website, but on the that's embarrassing. No toys. There we go. And we're going to be playing a monk. Sorry if I get a bit loud. So I'm going to be playing a 1st level monk, as all characters start at 1st level, unless the DM can pick. Obviously you could start as level 5, depending on like where you want the story to begin. Some people like to have their characters start higher levels if you want to make your character start as a badass from the beginning, but for most people, the majority and the way it's supposed to be played, you start at level 1. We're going to be playing a human. I am kind of most memorized with the human, just the fact that they don't have that many like sub skills that come with races. I'm going to fill in my name. and we are going to pick these two later on, and obviously your experience points is where you earn them from killing monsters. I'll probably do a separate video of basically how to DM properly. I think I'm going to do like a whole massive range of videos basically explaining everything to do with like DMing and all of that. So first we're just going to we're going to start with the ability scores. So we're going to go with the standards. You can do, I think there's 3 ways you can do this. You've got the standard that come with the book, which is 15, 14, 13, 12, 10 and 8. And that's basically just so you can quickly generate a character without having to roll for it. As the second one is rolling. Now this can be unfair at times, as you could either end up with rolling a really high stat or a really low stat, and I don't think you're allowed to re-roll. I know my players don't like actually doing that themselves because it can end with really bad results. And the third choice is actually using a point system, which I actually used for creating my first character when I did my Thursday sessions at my local shop. And the point system works quite well actually. I'm not a fan of it, just it takes a bit longer. Depending on what point system you can use the standard one in the player's handbook, but I think RDM was actually trying to use a combined version that I think came from like Shadowrun. I think it's called Shadowrun, yeah, but you tried to do a combined skill system, but that was just a bit confusing, so we're going to go with today the 15, 14, 13, 12, 10 and 8, as that seems like our best. So I'm going to quickly have a look into the class, the kind of general build of the monk, and see what they recommend you put your highest stat in. So dexterity and wisdom. Okay, so dexterity and wisdom seems the one, so I'm probably going to put one thing to understand is that the human race lets you put the human race sounds like I'm doing some kind of metaphorical speech, but the human race in D&D lets you add +1 to every one of your ability scores. That's why I like playing humans. It's just nice to give you a bit big of a boost. Yes, go humans. We are all rocking the +1 to all ability scores. So I'm just going to fill in the standard ones, and then I'm going to add the points afterwards. So we're going to put 15 in here, and we're going to put 14 in wisdom, and what we've got 13, 12, 10 and 8. So I'm going to put, because for a monk I think all of your attacks use dexterity, or most of yours can use dexterity instead of strength, so I think that's why. Let's see, I'm actually going to put 13 in constitution. Sorry. Let's see, 13, 12, 10 and 8, so let's see, I want to at least have a kind of, stronger, eh? And then 10 and 8. Now do I want a charismatic monk or an intelligent monk? So 10 and 8, I'm going to put 10 in here, and then 8. We're going to go with an uncharismatic monk. So now we're just going to quickly fill out all of the bonuses that the human gives. So 12 will go to 13, 15 will go to 16, then 13 will go to 14, 10 will go to 11, and 8 will, oh, I forgot this, 14 will go to 15, and 8 will go to 9. Now this is handy, just the fact that it kind of boosts up your skills. So if you're playing a human, instead of having to do what I did, where you put the base ones and then you add the one to it, you can memorize this. So you've got 16, 14, 15, 13, 11, and 9, but I recommend you just kind of do the base and then fill in afterwards. So I'm going to quickly scan to the front of the player's handbook, where it explains what the bonuses are for using, well, for your ability scores. So if some people don't know, I'm just going to put in a, let's see, I'm just going to grab this ruler. I'm going to use that to hold my place on the, it's a bit dirty. I'm going to do that to hold my place. So with your ability scores, the higher the number, the higher the modifier. I've got a good set of abilities. Now we're just going to fill it in. So 13 gets you an ability modifier of +1. So +1. 16 is +3. +3. 14 is +2. Or is it? No, yep, 13 +2. 11 is +0. 15 is +2. And 9 is -1. Pardon me. Now we've got our ability scores added in. I'm going to hop back to the monk, and we're just going to work our way from there. So starting from here, we've got a proficiency bonus, which is +2 until you get to level 5, and it goes up Not in 5s, it's kind of a bit uneven in its progression, but until level 5 you won't be adding anything to your proficiency bonus. Inspiration is something that's kind of dealt outside of character as well as inside. That's something your DM awards you for good roleplay, completing a long quest, or a nice bit of kind of like description when you're talking about an attack or your backstory, or basically it's used when you do good as your character, when you be a good player. Now this can be like a bit of a hassle because some people might feel offended if they don't get given an inspiration point, or they might get offended if if the whole party doesn't get given any. But it's a basic reward if they're doing good. But try and explain it to your players in a way that doesn't make them feel like if they don't get a point, they're crap. Because that's not the case. It's just some DMs just choose not to use inspiration. I don't tend to use it, just the fact that we don't normally take our sessions so seriously that, you know, everyone's trying to get the best description. Everyone's just trying to get their speech in as quickly as possible so it can progress. But inspirations is given out if they do something really unique or come up with an attack that's brilliant. So if you've got, it's just simple like, oh, no, don't give your players that. Just like one inspiration. What inspiration can do is they can use inspiration to get like advantage on a roll or to re-roll something. It's basically used in like tight situations, or if you want to do something like cool. A good kind of place to learn more about this is actually go to Node's channel and check through their D&D. Check through their D&D series. They do get given inspiration points, and they use a good kind of they show it off in a way that it's easy to understand, but they also they show you how to use it properly, and they kind of go into great detail. So now we've filled in this section, what we're going to do is then we're going to do our skills. So the monk allows you to pick from your skills. Choose 2 from acrobatics, athletics, history, insight, religion and stealth. I'm probably going to go with acrobatics and stealth. So what we want to do is we find acrobatics and stealth. Oh, it's both dexterity, that's handy. And what you do is you get your proficiency bonus. So it's normally your dexterity modifier, so it would be 3, so it would be +3. But because we get proficiency, it's +5. Now this is only for our skills we're proficient in, but the monk also has a saving throw proficiency in strength and dexterity, which is handy. So we're going to get +5 if we need to make a dexterity saving throw, so if we fall. And I think strength comes in like if you're trying to hold a door shut, or if you're being grappled, or something like that, so that would be +3. And I think then we just fill in the rest of it, so this would be +1, and then this will be +3. So we've basically got a really what's like the word for it? Dexterous monk, I get. Is dexterous the worst? I'm just going to go with dexterous. I chose constitution, that gives you higher hit points. It's just good to go with. I always try and inform my players that you go for constitution, because if you don't start with a lot of hit points and you end up getting taken out really easily, and then, you know, that's not fun for anyone if you're trying to do something fancy and you end up dying in it. So I'm not sure if I can just, no, unfortunately with the PDF you cannot just use the arrow keys to move yourself down, so that can be a bit difficult. I'm sorry if I'm slow at this, but oh, aha, no, that's not what I wanted. Okay, and so, oh, alright, that disappeared off that way. So then we put +2 for our wisdom. And this will come in handy since this has like animal handling and medicine. So basically, wisdom, good. Oops, I think I pressed the letter as well. Wisdom's a good thing to have as well, since that's your perception, your survival. So basically, wisdom, very handy one. Intelligence, that's good if you're going for like a wizard or something. And why did that put that? Sorry, I think my typing is really mucking up the system right now. Keep forgetting I'm on camera as well. Keep forgetting I'm using that. Unfortunately, we're going to be a very uncharismatic monk, so we won't be good at talking to people, being friendly with people. We won't be very good at intimidating people, and like basically doing anything that involves socializing with people. How unfortunate. Now our passive wisdom, I think that's just 15. I'm not sure if you actually add your perception skill onto it, but I'm pretty sure it's just your wisdom based skill. So passive wisdom of 15 basically means the lower your score, the easier it's going to be to like get the upper hand on you, sneak up on you. So let's see. passive wisdom of 15 basically means it's going to be very hard for a creature to like sneak up on you or try and stab you in the back when you're not looking. So that's another good reason to have wisdom. So now we've got our skills and stuff filled in, so we've basically got this whole column filled in. We're going to move on. What would be the next best thing to move on? I'm going to do armor class. Now the monks, basically, I'm not sure if they don't give you any armor, because monks actually start with unarmored defense, basically meaning when they're not wearing armor, as it says here, beginning at first level while you are wearing no armor and not wielding a shield, your armor class equals 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your wisdom modifier. So that's why they said that. So it will be 10, 13, 14, 15. Oh, we got an armor class of 15 and we're not wearing a shirt. Ha ha. Initiative is also going to be +3 since it's our dexterity. That also means you can go at the beginning of combat, you roll, depending on your initiative, you go basically means when you get to attack first, it's like your turn. So say me and a buddy, we roll, I have like +3 to my initiative, say, let's see, I get 13, that means I have like 16 initiative, maybe he gets 7, maybe he gets +2, that means he has 9, basically means I go in front of this guy, I attack first, he attacks second. So monsters do that as well, same with NPCs, basically anyone who's involved in combat rolls initiative, depending on how fast they go. So a human, how fast they go, sorry about that, a human has a speed of 30, so I think that's 30, I think that's how they use that sign, I think that's actually no space in there. So that's all this taken up. Now the monk has a hit dice of 1d8 and hit points at first level is 1d8 plus 2. So we will have 10 maximum hit points. What I'll actually do is once I finish this character, in a next video or maybe at the end of this, I will put them into my special app called Game Master. I'll recommend this app completely. It allows you to like do combat, like add everything. It's such a good app. I use it all the time, every D&D scenario. It's also handy if you want to test out your players against monsters before you actually do it in the session, instead of having to like do it where you have to write it down on paper and you have to get all their sheets out and stuff. It's very handy. It auto rolls everything. You can press a button, it rolls, and you can do that for everyone's attacks. Such a good app. I love the app. So we have 10 maximum hit points, and we also have a hit dice of 1d8. Now this is very so what your hit dice is when you take a short rest, you can choose to expend a hit dice to heal yourself. So everyone has the ability to heal themselves. Some people kind of forget this, or some people just like don't actually know what hit dice are. So everyone has the ability to heal themselves, but you'll see kind of later on in the games you'll need people who can use healing spells, or you need health potions and stuff like that. Don't just rely on your hit dice to heal you. And as you go up in level, you get more hit dice. So if you get to level 5, you get 5 hit dice to spend during a short rest. Basically, say you've got 20 hit points and you take 10, you can basically use those hit dice to kind of get yourself back up to maximum. But if you go over your maximum, you don't get any temporary. So temporary can be used, say a bard casts a spell on me that gives me like temporary 5 hit points. It means if a creature does like, let's say 10 damage to me, 5 of that gets taken away, and then I only take the 5 instead of being brought down to 0. So that's another thing that temporary hit points do. I'm trying to explain basically what the sheet shows you, but once you use a hit dice, you can't get it back until you take a long rest. So that's basically what the hit dice consists of. So what is next on our merry adventure? So unfortunately we do not have any proficiencies. My apologies, I'm not very well today. I've gone suffering with a sore throat. Because we're a monk, we do not have any proficiencies in armor. So proficiencies and languages refer back to your proficiency bonus. So if you have proficiency in armor, every armor you wear you get proficiency in, and I don't think you get the disadvantage for stealth if it's heavy armor. And weapons, if you have a proficiency in your weapons, it means you also get to add that to your attack bonus. So that's handy. So we have no proficiencies in armor, but we have proficiencies in simple weapons and short swords. So I'm just going to skip armor. Simple weapons and I'm actually going to use a comma instead. Simple weapons, short sword. Did they put an S on it? Short sword? Yeah, short swords. And we also get to pick what. What is your problem? Swordfish. Short. My apologies, my spelling is terrible. Short swords. What is your problem? Add to that. I spelled that right, didn't I? I had to spell it. Short swords. Yes. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I do apologise. Your tool proficiency. Let's see. Choose one type of what is that? Artisan's tools or one musical instrument. I like musical instruments in D&D, so let's see. I think you've got stuff from the harp, the lute, the flute, the drum, the horn. You know, let's get a drum. You know, we'll be proficient in drums. We'll be proficient in drums. That's it for proficiencies. Obviously, the skills have been filled out from here, and also your saving throws, so that's all that sorted. Now, it's on to the most exciting part of creating the class. Choosing your equipment. You start with the following equipment, in addition to the equipment granted by your background, which I will go into a bit later on. I'll do the background and the alignments last. Also the personality traits and the features. We get to pick a short sword or any simple weapon. Now, simple weapons are stuff like maybe... I'm actually going to find the equipment pack, so my apologies. I did actually have a bookmark on it to make sure I didn't have to make these kind of perilous journeys into the back of the book, but looks like I accidentally removed the bookmark. Here we go, we are at the bookmark. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the page. Now, simple weapons consist of like daggers, clubs, javelins, light hammers, maces, quarterstaffs, spears, and that kind of stuff. Martial weapons consist of like great swords, long swords. So martial weapons are expensive weapons used by military, basically good quality weapons. Simple weapons, as it says, they're simple. They're clubs, they're stuff anyone could use, pick up on the floor. Now, a short sword actually comes under the martial weapon, and that's a 1d6 weapon. A great club is two-handed, and that does the most damage in the simple weapon category, but I don't really like the idea of my monk using a great club. Let's see, the short sword is, let's see, that doesn't have anything to it, and that's finesse, and that uses light. So I was going to say we could use a quarterstaff, since that will seem like a bit more suiting a monk using a staff, but that is not, that does not have the finesse quality, meaning unfortunately, we'd have to use strength, which is only +1. So we're going to go with the short sword, just as it's the most logical thing to do. I'm actually going to put my ruler bookmark in the equipment stage. So I don't think short sword. No, it will work because I think that there's a spelling barrier. No, I think they removed that, or in the updated version, because it used to be that you couldn't put long words into it. So our attack bonus would be our dexterity modifier, so that's +3. And our proficiency, so that would be +5. Aye aye, Captain. And a nice old +5 to our attack bonus. And a 1d6 for the short sword damage, so 1d6. And we also get to add our dexterity modifier to it, so it's +3. And I think a short sword, does it puts it as piercing. So we're just going to put in capital P. A Dungeoneer pack or an Explorer pack. Now, me personally, my apologies, I don't really like using these packs, just the fact that I just never seem to get the situation when I'm DMing that includes them. I might try and use them more. I just never like the idea of using packs. Like a Dungeoneer's pack consists of like rope and stuff. I prefer having my players using their common sense to buy this stuff individually and kind of think what they need. And Explorer stuff, I think that's like binoculars and other like bits of rope and tents. I prefer to have my players literally go into a shop thinking, alright, I'm going out into the wilderness for a few weeks, I'm going there for a few days. I'm going to need a tent, I'm going to need a torch, lantern, sorry, torch, I'm going to grab your flashlight, I'm going to need a lantern, I'm going to need a bedroll, I'm going to need like tinderbox, that kind of stuff. For having my players use common sense, as that kind of adds to gives me the immersion when instead of just buying a pack, phone, you make too much noise. Instead of just grabbing a pack, just like buying a nice old pack off the microtransaction section, I prefer them like getting into the immersion and actually truly thinking what they need to buy to get into the situation. So I'm not gonna add the pack to them. I'll put it in their equipment. So I'll go in and explore a pack. Explore. Let's see. As pack. Hope I spelled that right. Yeah, Explorer's pack. So I'll add that, and I'll probably show the page, and I'll read more on it. I can never seem to find the page that actually shows it. So we also get 10 darts. Now if we quickly pop over to the simple weapon dart section, that does 1d4 and has a throwing range of 20 as regular and 60 as a disadvantaged throw, and it's also finesse, so it uses our dexterity, but all ranged weapons use dexterity. I think that is right, unless you use like some really heavy stuff, like if your DM goes into details about like barbarian throwing a tree when he's in the under the influence of the drugs and the giant strength potions. But we have 10 darts, so I'm going to put 10, I'm actually just going to put dart, and then that's 1d4, but that's also going to be plus, a simple weapon proficiency also goes to ranged weapons, that'll be plus 5 again. Very useful if it's just copy and paste. 1d4 plus 3. It's also going to be a piercing, so we've got a nice kind of old section of piercing, and I'm just going to put 10 darts just to keep track of that. So, ta-da, weapons all sorted. Now it's time to move on to the features. So we've already gone into the unarmored defense. I'm actually going to write that down, just so I can. I'm not going to write the whole bit down, but unarmored defense. And then our character also starts with key points and martial arts special abilities. We don't have any unarmored movement abilities at level 1, so I'll read on to the martial arts. I do apologise if I don't get it at first, because I've never played a monk. Nor have I kind of explored it. One of my players, or one of the people I played alongside on my Thursday sessions a while ago, was a monk, so I kind of had the basic grasp of what he did in a turn. He did like 4 things in one turn. It's just like, I use my key points, I do some flurry of blows, and then I attack with my short sword, and then I use my unarmored strike, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, man, you're just regular Bruce Lee popping in and out, punching them knolls in the face. So that was a cool guy. So I do not know off the top of my head how to spell unarmored, so R-M-O-R-E-D, defense, unarmored defense. Did I spell that wrong? Defense. Is that really is an S? I always thought that was a C. Jesus Christ me. Oh, that rhymed. Ha-ha! Martial arts. At first level, your practice of martial arts give you the mastery of combat styles that use unarmed strikes and monk weapons, which are short swords and any simple melee weapons that don't have the two-handed or heavy property. Good job we didn't use the great club. You can use dexterity instead of strength for the attacks and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes and monk weapons. You can roll 1d4 in place of the normal damage of your unarmed strike or monk weapon. This die changes as you gain monk levels, as shown in the martial arts column of the monk table, which it does say right here. I just popped to that section. It does say until 5th level it turns from 1d4 to 1d6. So if you're creating a monk alongside me, kind of if you got the player's handbook, have a read alongside me. So I'll write down unarmed strike. When you use the attack action with an unarmed strike or a monk weapon on your turn, you can make one unarmed strike as a bonus action. For example, if you take the attack action and attack with a quarterstaff, you can also make an unarmed strike as a bonus action, assuming you haven't already taken a bonus action. Certain monasteries use specialized forms of the monk weapon. For example, you might use a club that is 2 lengths of wood connected by a short chain called a nunchuck or a nunchaku, or a sickle with a shorter, straighter blade called a kama. So basically, this is very Chinese kind of history and Chinese lore weapons and stuff. So if you're a fan of martial arts films like me, one of my guilty pleasures is just looking into all these Bruce Lee films, and Shaolin was one of my favourite movies, and same with Jackie Chan's Legend of the Drunken Master. I love that film. But if you look into that, you'll see them use these weapons. So also, if you're going to play one of these characters, go into a bit of kind of like studying, watch these films, and you'll learn how it's done. Whenever whatever the name you use for a monk weapon, you can use the game statistics provided for the weapon in Chapter 5, which we've got under equipment, or that's weapons, maybe explained differently, equipment section. So we've also got key, but we don't actually get that till next level, so I won't have to cover that. I will do that. I'll probably do a leveling up your character video. I know some people might get a bit confused because Dawnforge did this. I'm not trying to copy Dawnforge cast, I'm just trying to do this so I can have the basics on my channel as well. I basically want to have a nice old package that you can look onto if you forget how to do stuff. So I'm actually going to do unarmed strike, and that will be our dexterity, and that will just be +3. I don't think we get proficiency. Nope, no proficiency. No proficiency in unarmed strikes, and that will be 1d4. 1d4. Okay. So I think unarmed strikes in general do 1d4. I think everyone can do 1d4 of damage, and I bet that's bludgeoning damage, because obviously if it's piercing, you got some mighty sharp fists. Alrighty. So is that everything? Yes, haha. It's a good bit of nostalgia seeing that flurry of blows. Immediately after you take the action, you can spend 1 key point to make 2 unarmed strikes. He could literally do 3 punches in one go, so that's like 1d12 in added up damage, man. Man, I love that guy. He was the coolest guy. He was a halfling chef that was also a monk. I love that guy, man. He was one of the coolest characters I've ever seen. Now, this one recommends that you go with the hermit background. So backgrounds basically give a bit of backstory to your character, but also give you bonuses. So it recommends that we use the hermit background. So we're actually going to pop all the way to the backgrounds, and then we will have a look at the hermit. I think the hermit background consists of someone who goes basically into isolation, whether it's for training or hiding from someone. So we will find the hermit around here somewhere. I always think of the hermit crab. Here we go. I'll give you a bit of reading onto it. You lived in seclusion, either in a sheltered community such as a monastery or entirely alone, so this is very useful and kind of very appropriate for your monk character, for a formative part of your life. In your time apart from the clamour of society, you found quiet, solitude, and perhaps some of the answers you were looking for. So you get skill proficiencies in medicine and religion. You're very good with a team, and you're very useful to other people. So it's medicine and that, so that will be actually quite cool. So we've got, get to change that from +2 to +4, and from +0, I didn't have investigation, what am I doing that for? +0 to +2, that's not a 2, that is an opening speech mark. We get tool proficiencies in herbalism kit, that's very useful. So herbalism kit, so we can pick herbs and master. We get to pick 1 language of our choice, plus common, plus another language of our choice from human, from because of the human class. So basically that's 3 languages. So I'm going to pick common, Elvish, let me spell that right, yeah, I think there's that in there. And we want 1 other language. So, do you know what, I'm going to be fancy, I'm going to go with Draconic. Just the fact that I could speak to dragons and kobolds. So, equipment, a scroll case stuffed full of notes from your studies or prayers, a winter blanket, a set of common clothes, a herbalism kit, and 5 gold pieces. Now each class gets to roll for their gold pieces, so we also get a herbalism kit as well as an explorer's pack. We get to have a winter blanket, and set of common clothes. And what else do we get? Scroll filled with prayers. Scroll filled with... Oh, why am I doing capitals for each bit? My apologies. Filled with how do you spell prayers? Where is it? Prayers. There we go. That seems like us set. Aha! Woohoo! Yeah, we're a cool monk. Now, you can roll for your personality traits and all stuff, so we'll be dealing with this. One of my favourite parts is creating the backstory of the character. So, we're an uncharismatic, athletic, wise human. I was about to say halfling then. So, life of seclusion. What was the reason for your isolation? And what changed to allow you to end your solitude? You can work out with your DM to determine the exact nature of your seclusion, or you can choose to roll on the table below to determine the reason behind your seclusion. So they've given you eight reasons for your life of seclusion. So number 1, I was searching for spiritual enlightenment. Number 2, I was partaking of communal living in accordance with the dictates of religious order. That's more of like an acolyte kind of background. Number 3, I was exiled for a crime I didn't commit. Interesting. Number 4, I retreated from a society after a life-altering event. Number 5, I needed a quiet place to work on my art, literature, music, or manifesto. Number 6, I needed to commune with nature far from civilization. Number 7, I was the caretaker of an ancient ruin or relic. Number 8, I was a pilgrim in search of a person, place, or relic of spiritual significance. Now, I'm actually going to go with life of... number 1, I was searching for spiritual enlightenment. Or was that... that might not be the best one. I was the caretaker of an ancient ruin or relic. I like that one. I was the caretaker of an ancient... Do you know... Oh, I'm so sorry for my spelling. Ancient... Do you know, let's not just follow that one. I was the caretaker of an ancient relic called the Spoon of Destiny. Destiny, yay! Denny, there we go. We're just going to go with that. I was the caretaker of an ancient relic called the Spoon of Denny. Yeah, I like that. Let's see, now we get onto the main bit. No, that's not actually my personality trait. That is the only reason I live. We're actually going to sort that out, so we will put that on a spare sheet. My apologies, that does not belong in the personality traits. Bad me, I'm supposed to be informing people of the tutorial. Personality traits. So you get another 8 choices. Number 1, I've been isolated for so long that I can rarely speak. Preferred gestures and the occasional grunt. Sounds like me every morning. Number 2, I'm utterly serene even in the face of disaster. The leader of my community had something wise to say on every topic, and I'm eager to share that wisdom. I feel tremendous empathy for all who suffer. I'm oblivious to etiquette and social expectations. I connect everything that happens to me to a grand cosmic plan. I often get lost in my own thoughts and contemplations, becoming oblivious to my surroundings. I'm working on a grand philosophical theory and love sharing my ideas. Now, what best suits Notarus the Human Monk? I like the one where it's not being preferring grunts. I've been isolated for so long that I can rarely rarely speak, preferring gestures and the occasional grunt. I think I spelled a few things there. Rarely. Oh, oops. No, really. And occasional. Right. Ideals. Now, these can go from good, lawful, chaotic, evil, neutral, or any. This is kind of what determines your alignment along with your choice. So, for good, they have the greater good. My gifts are meant to be shared with all, not used for my own benefit. Lawful, logic. Emotions must not cloud our sense of what is right and true, or our logical thinking. Chaotic, free thinking, inquiry and curiosity are the pillars of progress. Evil, power. Solitude and contemplation's up half towards mystical or magical power. Neutral, live and let live. Meddling in the affairs of others only causes trouble. And any, self-knowledge. If you know yourself, there's nothing left to know. So these are actually some interesting ones. I think I'll go with live and let live. Live and let live. And then they got a nice little full stop. And then it's meddling. Meddling. What is it? Meddling in the affairs of others only leads to trouble. I probably spelled only leads. I spelled meddling right, but I didn't spell leads right. Bonds. Nothing is more important than the other member of my hermitage, or association. I entered the seclusion to hide from ones who might. I'm still seeking enlightenment. I've entered the seclusion because I love someone I could not have. Oh, that's quite sad. I'm still seeking the enlightenment I pursued in my seclusion, and it still eludes me. Should my discovery come to light, it could bring ruin to the world. My isolation gave me great insight into the great evil that only I can destroy. So that's very good if you want to do a one-on-one where they're the hero of the story. Let's see. I think I like the should my discovery be what is it? If my discovery, I realised I spelled that wrong. Should my discovery come to light, it would, what is it? Where'd you go? It would bring ruin to the world. Oh, that's so interesting. I wish I picked monk, man. That would have been monk over fighter any day. This is so cool. It would ruin. It would bring ruin to the world. You don't have to just go. Oops. You don't have to go along with all of the ones that's in the books. You can make up your own. I did because I went for a fighter slash minstrel, and basically I didn't want to have someone for the entertainer background. I wanted to be a storyteller, but I didn't just want to go with the entertainer one. Oh, I want to entertain everyone. I want to be well known. Mine was I want to know a story for every situation. I want my stories to be told. I want my legends to be known. Very egotistic character. Discovery. Is that spelled right? Woohoo! Spelled it right. Flaw. And now that I've returned to the world, I enjoy its delights a little too much. I harbour dark, bloodthirsty thoughts that my isolation and meditation failed to quell. I'm dogmatic in my thoughts and philosophy. There is too much to uncover a lost bit of knowledge. I like that. I harbour dark, bloodthirsty thoughts. That's interesting, because then like they become like a monster in battle. Bloodthirsty thoughts that my meditation failed to quell. Oh, I thought I could spell meditation. That's sad. Right, so background is hermit. And alignment is... So we've gone for live and let live, which is neutral. Now I think we're gonna be... so that's just neutral. So that's not chaotic and stuff. So I think we are allowed to pick. So even though live and let live means that you are meddling in the affairs of others only leads to trouble, so I don't believe in helping people, I think I'll go but then harbour bloodthirsty thoughts. Chaotic neutral. Yay, I spelled that right. We're hermit with chaotic neutral. Now, is there anything else to add? No, I think we should just write martial arts moral. Oh man, I think this might be my keyboard. I think I need to do like a clean of my keyboard because the keys getting stuck. But let's just have a quick overview of our sheet. That's a bit too far. Smart one, me. And we look about done. Yes, I think we are done. Congratulations, everyone. Together we created a monk, human monk. We'll just go over the basics. Notarus is a human monk who has been isolated for so long that he can rarely speak, preferring gestures and the occasional grunt instead of proper communication, go alongside with his charisma. What he's been doing, the reason he's been isolated, is because he was defending, or mainly looking after, a rare relic called the Spoon of Denny. That spoon belonged to a king called Denny. He ate his breakfast with it every day. We miss you, Denny. And that spoon became a relic to Hamish. That's me. It's a relic to me. But Notarus defended it as well. I love that spoon. That's got to become an item now. The Spoon of Denny. That is going to be like a meme. A D and meme. And a meme and meme. Man, meme. I love the word meme. But the Spoon of Denny, he preferred to look after it, and that's why he stayed in isolation. He prefers not to meddle into the affairs of others, as he thinks that just leads to trouble. Because of that, he prefers to stay by himself. He has one discovery, that if it came to light, it would bring ruin to the world. He doesn't even like to talk about this discovery. For that, we don't even know what it is. And during his meditation protecting the spoon of Denny, he harboured dark and bloodthirsty thoughts that came from the angry thoughts Denny had while eating his breakfast with this spoon. This spoon affected Notaris, and because of that he harbours bloodthirsty thoughts that meditation failed to quell. He prefers to use short swords, the occasional dart, but his punches are to be feared. He's got an armor class of 15, an initiative of 3, and a speed of 30. That's it, standard. He is proficient in the religion skill as he studied a bit more. He's very stealthy from his times of seclusion. He tends to hide from his prey. Hid's in past tense. Hide from his prey. He was very acrobatic. He liked to climb trees. He referred himself as a monkey boy. He watched Jungle Book a bit too much as a kid. Man, Jungle Book was a good film. He's also he's very good when it comes to stopping himself from falling, since he likes to climb trees and then fall off the trees. And because of that, he's a very successful lad. And that brings us to the end of the video. We created a character, and I'm proud of all of us. I hope that even though through my countless coughs and my bad spelling, I hope that this was of great use to people who have not, who weren't sure of what to do. I actually enjoyed doing this. This was fun. I haven't created a character in a long time, and just having the feeling I was doing it alongside people felt quite nice. So, if you enjoyed this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more Legend content, and do not forget to put your vote into my straw poll in the description below, as I'll be checking that later on this week, and then you'll get special. No, you won't, because I won't be able to know. Put in the comments during the next video if you put a vote for that class if it gets picked. But I hope you guys enjoy the selection I've got in the straw poll. The description also holds the link to the folder that has all of these sheets on, like the one I've been using today. And I'll also put a link to the fancy name generator website, as I like to support that website. I can't remember the name of the woman who owns it, but she's a lovely lady, and she does all the work by herself. So thank you for watching, and I'll see all you in the next video. Farewell, my friends.